Yo, what's going on, guys? Today we're talking about the Omnishot build. Probably saw from the title why I'm not playing anymore, why I sold off all my gear, basically sold the entire build, and what I'm going to next. And I just want to go over that real quick, and maybe why it's got a little overhyped, and maybe you should not play it as well. So before I jump into that, if this helps you out at all, or any of this content's interesting to you, click like, click subscribe. It means a lot to me. Leave a comment down below if you've been playing the build and what you think of it. And just give me your thoughts. It means a lot. So also check out my Twitch down below, and let's just jump into it right away. I want to get through this quick. I have a lot actually I want to talk about with this build, and then going on where I'm going from here. So first of all, you see my character here is basically completely naked. I stripped everything from this character, sold it all off. We'll jump into how much I sold it for, stuff like that. But first I want to talk about the benefits of this build. So first of all, there's obviously things that make this build popular. If we jump over to PoE Ninja, right here, Deadeye is like the third most popular class, and almost all, well, 57% of that's tornado shot. So, and almost all of the tornado shots are omniscience. So we're here. This is probably the most popular build. This is, of course, our level 98 to 100. I would say most people who are playing this build as well aren't even getting to level 98. Right? It's a very rippy build. There's very few ways to build a tanky without a mage blood. So I don't think a lot of people who are even playing this build are getting this high. That said, I think there's more people playing than represented by PoE Ninja. So let's talk about why that is, because there are a lot of benefits. First, good thing about this build, extremely zoomy. You zoom around the map, clear super fast, right? Tornado shot super cool. Tornado shot ability is super cool. Just shooting out 7 tornadoes that also fire projectiles, it was super fun to play. I'm gonna bring up my end POV while we're talking about this as well, so people get a look at it. Third thing I loved about the build, omniscience is super easy, which is a good and a bad thing, really. Like, you think about it, like, it made the build super simple. Super simple. All you have to do is put omniscience into your build. You don't have to worry about resistances. You don't have to worry about damage elemental penetration. It's all taken care of for you. As long as you get your stats, which is going to be one of the cons we're going to talk about soon. The other thing is probably going to be the only chance to get omniscience is during this patch. I would assume it's getting nerfed after this. There's too many builds that are reliant on it at this point. Just seems like it is stronger than they had anticipated. So I think this is probably the last we'll see of omniscience. Or we'll see it in a different form. Last thing is a ranged build and bow build. So we got the bow buffs. We got a cool range build. You'll want to try it out. So it became super popular. It's very good. It's very zoomy. It uses all the new stuff from the game in this patch. So you got to use a bunch of that stuff from this build. So let's talk. So that's the positives. It was fast. It was really fun. Fine. Let's talk about the cons. It became incredibly expensive as soon as the build started getting a little bit popular, and there was a lot of content created around it, right? People were talking about omniscience, people were talking about bow buff, people were talking about tornado shot. We had a ton of content creators playing this build that got a ton of views. All the prices of everything went up. Bow build like this probably shouldn't have been that expensive, but it ended up juicing the prices of a ton of gear that was necessary. They just didn't need, or didn't need before. The big thing there was like anything with double T1 stats, like strength, dex, strength, and whatever, became incredibly expensive, especially if it was on like amethyst rings, opal rings for a little bit, stuff that did straight increases. Black Sun Crest became a meta item, still is. So going to that one, over how expensive this build was when I talk about selling my gear, because it basically paid for my entire new build. So downside of this, so we're gonna take a look at my POV real quick here that I've had up for a minute. You notice that this is what when I stopped playing this build, this is what my full DPS was. Everything going was around 15 million DPS. It's just too low for me. It clears T16 maps, it does that. It's not a great bosser without significant investment. Let me be clear. If you significantly invest into this build, it will do a ton of damage. On top of that, the build is not tanky at all. This is the tankiest version I could have made. This is why I stopped playing the build, basically, is that we're at 68% fizz reduction, 70% evade, 69% evasion, full spell suppression, and I still was just getting one-shotted. Just complete rip or full resistances, obviously from omniscience, like 45% chaos as well. And just still full rip. My Watcher's Eye that I bought was not on here for some reason, but Watcher's Eye I had was life gain on hit while Vitality's up. I had Vitality to this build. I had every possible defensive measure I could think of to the build, and still felt awful doing like T16 juice maps. That's probably because if you go look at PoE Ninja and the guys who are 98 to level 100, they pretty much all have Headhunter, 68% have Headhunter, and then 14% have Mage Blood, so that's 82% of the player base that got to level 98 with this build are running the two best belts in the game. I don't think that says a lot about the build, I think it says a lot about those two belts, so there we go. Like if you're running Mage Blood on this build, like Mage Blood makes every build good. Let's just be clear. Makes every build tanky, every build good. So, there you go. That's my thoughts on that. And without Headhunter, the efficiency really goes down on this build. You're not stealing those buffs. You basically get a double T1 attribute roll with Headhunter as well. Life's always good on this build as well. It's a life-based build. So, yeah. You need Headhunter for map clearing, and you needed like Mage Blood for tankiness if you want to do anything that required being tanky. Or invest so much into your bow and quiver and gear that you have all the stuff that I had on my POB, which is like 70% reduction, which is like 100% spell suppression, 70% evasion, 70% armor, and you're still getting one-shotted because your life pool's super low. Like the gear for this becomes super expensive to get it perfect, and that's why I ended up moving on. The last thing I didn't like, there was a lot of micromanaging. You're doing a lot of clicking, a lot of moving. Basically, you move, fire your arrow a bunch of times, move. And if you're doing really juice maps, you move, fire your arrow once, move, fire your arrow, move, fire your arrow. You just can't stand in the same spot. Unless you're doing so much damage, everything dies in one hit. My build didn't get there because of how expensive it was. So, those are my big downsides for this build. And we're going to talk about now what I ended up selling my stuff for. So I didn't sell the build entirely. This build's not finished. I wouldn't sell an unfinished build to somebody. That'd be rude. But I did sell pretty much all the gear pieces individually. Big one for me was the bow. I self-crafted this. Triple elemental additions, flat, 13% deal double damage. This is a really, really nice bow. I ended up selling it for 8x. I probably could have waited. I ended up selling like an hour after I posted for 8x. I had it listed for like 10. So I probably could have gotten 10 for it, I'm assuming. Next big piece was the Black Sun Crest. Mine was 15, 13, which is really, really nice. Sold this for 3x. My Hyries. It's a 5-link corrupted with +2 level of AoE gems. Ended up not using this a ton because I put everything into my Black Sun Crest to get level 4 Enlighten for cheap. But I sold this for 1x. The other thing I think I should have mentioned earlier, people who are really high on this build, on PoE Ninja, and have gotten to a really high level, where is that at? They are not even using Hyries. 41%. They're using like good chests, like really, really mirror tier chests. So keep that in mind as well for their defenses. My boots, these end up being really, really nice boots. These are armor evasion boots with chance to suppress spell damage and huge chance to avoid elemental ailments roll, which I also got capped out to 100% on this build. These are T1 life, like T3 chaos resistance, suppression on the armor evasion boots. He sold for like 4x. And other big thing was the large cluster jewel was about 3x sold for. Basically perfect with Feed the Fury, Fuel the Fight, and Martial Prowess. 8 passive, so that sold for quite a bit. And gems, miscellaneous stuff. See, we had some pretty big gems in here. Alt qualities stuff. Fully juiced out, 2020. Sold them for about, I would say, around 8 to 10x total. And then a lot of stuff I reuse this for my new build, which is just really why we're here, right? We want to talk about what we sold for this Omnishot build that I wasn't having fun playing with, just kind of throwing my character at the screen. And we're going to my Spark build. Spark Little W. This is an Occultist and is clearly not a Spark build. This is a cast on crit Ice Sphere Cyclone, as we can see. I think, so basically, I had about 15x laying around, along with my Deadeye, and I decided, I want to try this cast on crit build. I looked on PoE Ninja, this is basically the build doing the most damage besides like Aura Stackers, and that's like a multiple mirror tier build, so that was kind of out. So let's go look and see what Spark Little W looks like. I'm not going to talk about investment on Super Genius, but we're going to talk about the DPS. This is a level 92 currently. I don't pay for like level boosting from 5-way carries. Roughly, with everything going, we're talking 286 million DPS. Yeah, so I'm having a lot more fun playing this, obviously. Let's grab the map that I had crafted. I just want to do a quick little showcase before we end up this video. So if you want to hear about Omnishot, click like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and we'll check out this build. I'll do a full review on this build in probably a future video, or a full map clear boss killing, because this thing can do it all. This will be a T16 Alk Chiseled Corrupted map. Not going to put anything special on it, just going to run it through. Just probably do a few mobs, just kind of show you why I'm having so much fun playing this build. The big thing for me is I can basically just get to a mob and right click. There's no management here, right? When I'm not like streaming or making a video, I just want to sit back, watch Netflix, watch another stream, and chill. Playing Deadeye, it was very like, I had to focus. It wasn't just right click, walk through things. This is way more fun to me. When I'm just like relaxed at the end of the night. Everything's just kind of taking care of itself. I would say before jumping into this build, remember that cast on crit build is super technical as far as like attack speeds, cooldown reductions, things like that to get the most out of it, and I learned a ton setting this up, so but be prepared that it's not as simple as it looks. But see, this clears everything with ease. I kind of just want to get to the boss too, because I think that's important to show the bossing capabilities. This has a bottled faith, and yeah, this is pretty easy. So that's where we're at. This is the build I'll be playing a lot of because this is really, really fun to me. And that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Next video will probably be a full review of this build. I'll have my POV done. Going to finish setting up the build. There's a few things I want to move around yet. So that said, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Twitch link down below. See you next time.